Cowboys lose 24-20. Bobby Belt running on no sleep back from Philadelphia, and so is this man, Nick Eatman. DallasCowboys.com brought to you by the WinStar World Casino and Resort. Proud to be the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Please game responsibly here on Shan and RJ. And Nick's headline on DallasCowboys.com is, "This one hurts, and that's a good thing. Please explain."
Well, I mean, obviously we know the quarterback for Philly was, and he made the difference there, in my opinion. But the fact that, regardless of what your expectations were, I think a lot of people would have said, oh, they would have been surprised by 24-20. But it was 24-20, and they could have won. You can argue that they should have won, and they were right there. And I think it's a good thing that this one hurts, is because last year you could have said, well, hey, that's not bad. Let's see what happens in other games. That's the defending champs in their house, and they went toe-to-toe and should have won the game. And that's why I think, it's a good thing that's where I think the expectations now should and could be.
What stood out to you about Schottenheimer's game plan?
2nd and 23 from the 40-yard line, you're pretty much in range for Aubrey, and you're just going to go deep down the field to Pickens. And there were some other plays early on there as well. Everything seemed to be, we're going for points. And that can be scary, but I like the tempo. I liked how they went they went inside out. The first couple of drives, Turpin and Pickens and CD, and then Ferguson a few drives later, and then runners as well. And everybody kind of got involved, and they're going down the seam to span forward at Schoonmaker. Now maybe they shouldn't all the time, but they are trying to spread things around, and I thought it was good. I thought it was a good first half, but give credit to the Eagles. They made adjustments. So did the Cowboys, and then it became a different game in the second half.
Can you remember, quarterback aside, can you remember as great a player as CD having this type of game for the Cowboys, or when's the last time you remember it? Because of all the predictions, Nick, and of all the ways to lose, no one is going to have CD Lamb multiple drops at the top. No, that's the thing that stands out of, like, wow, that's why they could have won it. And I'll answer that in a second, that part about which player. But when I think about, the Eagles and the Cowboys defense, the Cowboys, I thought for the most part, really stopped them in the second half. Yeah.
And the Eagles, they stopped them and they stopped the run, but they still, Dak had plenty of throws that were right there that they should have been able to score. And so, that's why it's a sickening. And I don't think CD will have 4 more drops the rest of the year.
Yeah.
But it's what happened in this game. And it's just one of those weird things where, it started weird. It was weird in the middle. And then you've got your best player, dropping some passes. And whether you call that last one a drop, it's a catchable ball for a $34 million a year receiver. So, but it reminded me of a game where T.O., and he did have a broken hand, but T.O. had like 5 drops in a game. It was like it became mental, and that's what you hope here, that this doesn't become that.
Nick, should they have gotten George Pickens more involved in the game?
I think that's a product of what this offense is, and we kind of knew that there would be times like that where CD's going to catch the ball and a lot, and then depending on the coverage. I didn't really see it that way of like, man, why isn't he getting the ball? There were some times, but I just feel like, if he's going to throw the ball down the seam to Brevin, Spanford, and Schoonmaker, the reason why I keep bringing that up is, he's going to throw it to everyone. Get open, make the play, and he did. I thought Pickens was a difference maker. 34 yards is not going to show up on the stat sheet, but that led to a touchdown, him with the pass interference down the field. So I didn't have a big problem with the production of the passes. The ball's supposed to go to CD Lamb, and it went right in his hands, and then threw it.
Nick Eatman joining us here, 105 to the Fan. Did you think the way they used Turpin, Tolbert, etc., that's about Was Philly doing things to take away the number 3 receiver, I guess is what I'm trying to say?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think they had the talent to take away your number 3 receiver and stuff like that. I mean, they had a hard time with the 1s and 2s, but I think I liked what they did with Turpin early. I felt like that sort of went away in the second half. I'd have to go back and watch. But you know, it definitely changed. It changed in the second half. But I mean, to me, the most pivotal play was when Miles Sanders was streaking down the field and gets tackled by a linebacker from behind. That led to some weird plays, back and forth penalties, and then the fumble by Sanders. And hey, I'm all for rewarding a guy to get you down there, but that's got to be Javonte Williams for me. I mean, thanks, Miles, great run. Kind of wanted you to score there, but then you got to give it. And I think you got to give it back. Go back to Williams there. But I thought that whole sequence was. I mean, because at that point they had scored 4 straight possessions. They started the third, had a chance to take the lead, and then that fumble happened, and then of course the rain delay. But that would have been huge to score right then and there, take the lead, and then go into the weather delay.
Nick, what adjustments did you see or hear Eberflus making in the second half, and how different do you think Hurts running around would have been with Parsons or even Overshown out there?
Well, okay, I definitely think. I mean, we all saw the one thing that Eberflus did to scheme up some pressure, which was blitzing the corners off the edge in consecutive plays.
Yes.
I can't remember seeing that before with both starting cornerbacks, you know, blitzing on back-to-back plays. And so, but that's when, you know, I was thinking about the press conference after they traded Micah, where they said, you know, you can dial up pressure. And I was thinking at some point, like, all right, well, let's grab the phone then, you know, let's start calling for the pressure. And then they started to do that. I just think it was mixing it up in different ways, with you know where the blitz was coming from. To answer your question, yes, Micah would have made a huge difference. I mean, there's no doubt about it. They missed him for sure, and they're going to miss him. But you know, to be fair, if there is a team that has neutralized Micah, it's been the Eagles.
Yeah.
So they're just very difficult because they don't have any weaknesses. And so I know a lot of people will say they got to have spies. They got to have a spy on Hurts, and I get it. But Hurts isn't really trying to run. He will, but he's not trying to. So you sit there and have a Leafal or Damone Clark or even an Overshown if he was healthy, and that's where Barkley and Goddard and those guys are still going to hurt you because they've got so many different weapons. I mean, they really do a nice job, and it showed. But I think the encouraging thing is, and you know, you could say moral victory, no moral victory, whatever you want. But the encouraging thing is that the Cowboys were just as good as the Eagles. They should have won that football game, and I think they took a step in the right direction even without winning.
What does your spitting scorecard look like in terms of blame after the Dak video came out?
Oh, that's just Jalen Carter. I mean, doing something stupid. I mean, that's. I mean, when you look at it at what it was, I mean, you know, we've seen Dak. You've seen Dak do that 100,000 times.
Yeah,
that's what he does.
Yeah.
So, you know, if Carter is going to use that as motivation, like, you know, all that. I mean, the interesting thing was that, you know, without that injury, and I forgot the player's name, the running back that got hurt on the opening kickoff. But without that, like that never even happened. But I mean, I don't really blame Dak on that one. I mean, am I missing that? I mean,
No.
They were just kind of trash talking, and he did that. But wasn't that like 15 feet away? I mean,
I think, and I give Dak credit if it was intentional. The eye contact in the face he was making that triggered Jalen. But to act like Dak spitting, still at the end of the day, he spit on the ground. Jalen spit on him. Only Philadelphia fans are trying to compare the two.
Right. Well, So good luck with that one. But you know, I didn't realize that was assault. I was told that in the press box.
It's not. They just say it is.
It is legally.
It's not assault.
It is legally.
It's not. It's so stupid.
So this sounds like at 9:32. It sounds like y'all brought this topic up earlier.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This came up. Chop has tried to say it's not assault, which I mean,
and not ejectable.
It may not be in practice and in reality, but according to the law, it is.
Yeah. I just like it's like come on. Like I keep getting in. People say if you squirt a water hose on somebody, that's assault. And I'm like, I start assault with a fist. Like that's where assault starts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when you think about the way that game was officiated, like I thought the Cowboys got a lot of the good calls. Now you can save the holding penalties and some things like that, but it just felt like, taunting. Are you serious? Like taunting in an NFL game, that seems so lame. Yeah. And then, Hurts gets pushed out of bounds a couple of times and that wasn't that big a deal, but then they'll call it, the other way. Like I just thought the Eagles had about 100 yards in penalties, felt like. And just when Jalen Carter missing that game, AJ Brown not doing anything. It was there for the taking. But I'll say this about AJ Brown. The secondary did a nice job. For all the antics, for all the stuff that Trayvon Diggs did, he comes right out there and plays well. Yes. You got to give him credit. I mean, I thought he played well. Tyler Guyton, I give him some credit too for stepping out there. I just, it sucks that they didn't win because they had chances to do that, but I think if we're being honest with ourselves and what we expected, and knowing that we have 16 more games to watch this team, I think that the arrow is pointing up for them.
Perfectly recapped. I just got a little goosebumps down the spine as you said that. Get some rest. You sound way too energetic, and enjoy the weekend.
All right, guys.
It felt like a tale of two halves, and the positives and negatives were wildly different in the first half versus the second half. But here's where I'm at today.
It actually felt like Jerry Jones scripted this thing like he did The Gambler.
Sure.
And he was just like, I know drama. Let's get in the spitting action. Let's get a rain delay. Jerry made this all happen because you can make rain happen.
Yes.
So that's a thing, too.
See, I agree with you because much like Episode 8 of The Gambler was stupid and useless, the end of this game was stupid and useless last night. And I have a lot of complex thoughts, like I'm sure a lot of Cowboys fans are this morning. I get why everyone's talking about a moral victory. I just thought if we had a moral victory, it would be like, hey, man, they didn't let the Eagles get away from them. They fought all night. They kept it close, and, good for us. But instead, you had a chance to legitimately win that game. And that's why I'm kind of going back and forth with the concept of a moral victory is I get everybody who takes a moral victory out of it, but I'm also still upset because it hasn't even been 12 hours since you lost the game that you definitely had the chance to win.
Yeah, you absolutely had opportunities. I say it started with the fumble. That's whenever you lost the game. Yeah, when Miles Sanders. Now you can obviously CeeDee Lamb has to catch those.
Yes.
And there's no doubt in my mind. I think there are a handful of number one receivers in the league, and CeeDee Lamb's still one of them. And you know what? Quite honestly, I don't think he has more than 2 drops for the rest of the season. He's that kind of guy. Whenever something like this happens, he turns into it. And dude, don't forget the way he had 100 yards before the rain delay. He was the dude at the first half of that game.
Yeah.
He was. I mean, every catch, I was like, man, this guy's on fire. I actually had it in my notes. CeeDee Lamb is rolling right now.
Right.
And as soon as I typed it into my notes, he started dropping footballs. So I'll blame myself on that one. But the Miles Sanders moment, Kevin, you're driving down the field, just responding the same way you were the entire game to whatever they did, and now you're saying, hey, we're going to make a statement real quick and punch one in, and we're going to have a 27-24 lead. Had that fumble not happened, I still think that the Cowboys would have scored on that drive, been up. Now, I don't know if the rain delay after that point then changes things there, but our defense came out from that rain delay with a different type of focus, and I really appreciated the way that they played. I thought there were a lot of positives, a lot of really good things that happened last night, but you lost. and you lost in a game against a division opponent. You're now 0-1 on the season, and you had some other bad things that happened throughout the night as well.
It's really weird when the person who makes the play to set you up for success is the person who, in part, takes that success away. Like Miles Sanders breaks off that really awesome run, though. Run a little bit faster. Mm-hmm. And then he fumbles after, you know what, I know RJ is going to destroy me for this, but make the catch, Jake Ferguson.
Okay.
Because here, look, I know people are going to say
he got murdered twice last night.
And I hear that. But, like, before that, he was already dropping that football. Mm-hmm. And that's what's frustrating to me, because that's a ball that you need to catch before the murder, death, kill. And I thought that could have been a touchdown. And it just really sucks because you're like, dang it, I know we got the penalty. That could have been a touchdown. Miles Sanders' breakaway could have been a touchdown. And then on the very next play, you get a fumble, and you're like, son of a gun. I do have to admit, though, I thought the game might have been over right there. Like, I really did, just because I was like, you've been playing with fire all night, but you've been staying close. You got to take opportunity. You got to score a touchdown. And when they lost that ball, I thought they were done, and they were not. Like, I know they lost, but they were not done in that moment.
Yeah.
And then, of course, CeeDee Lamb.
I want to flip it around to listen, and somebody just texted in and says, so you're blaming the free agent running back. Yeah, yes, I'm blaming the team for the failure of their loss last night. Everybody involved, and I brought up CeeDee Lamb as well. I'm probably not going to look at the fan text for the rest of the day because they're only going to hear what they want to hear. So that's where I'm kind of settling in on that, going, hey, I know you're emotional today. It was a loss. It was a Cowboys game. It was the first one of the season. They lost to the Eagles. You're all ramped up about that. But you got to hear the full story whenever we're having a conversation, all right? The moment that I really liked the most, and I don't know, Kevin, if you have this like lined in for a very specific topic. I didn't see it. Was Dak's energy.
Ooh, okay. Tell me more about that.
From the moment that Jalen Carter was ejected from the game, and even right before that, when I saw. We can discuss the spitting incident and whatnot. Again, I'll say,
man, that was crazy.
Yeah. I'll say this: you spit in my direction, I'm offended-ish. All right, like
okay.
That's about it. You spit in my direction. I'm like, dude, why'd you do that? If you spit on me, we're throwing hands. Like
right.
that's just disgusting. You don't do that. That's what I teach my kids. We don't spit on people. All right.
Although
just like Suarez biting people, and
yes,
you don't do that.
Good for Dak for not throwing hands and just looking right at the official, and the official being like, "You're gone."
Yeah, but like Dak's energy. Go back and watch his face in that moment. He's smiling. He's like, I'll step straight up to you right now. He did not want to back down against any of those guys. And, Kevin, I think it's because Schottenheimer gave this team permission to be football players. And that was something I saw. And they had a different edge about them last night that I haven't seen the last 2 years, honestly. Since that Green Bay playoff game, I haven't seen that kind of edge from this team where they were cocky, confident. We're coming at you. We're taking it right to you, and we don't care. We're gonna fight through this entire game. We might not be as talented as you in certain areas, but we're going to take it right to you all night. And I think that's Brian Schottenheimer and his staff that gave them that the permission to be that again, because it didn't feel like McCarthy had that in them last year. And so I really did like seeing that, and I hope that carries over. Not that it was just hey, we're taking this in one game. It's the Eagles. It's a big game. We had to come out with that energy. No, you keep that kind of energy for the rest of the season, and you're going to turn out on the better side of this thing.
Yeah, there are so many things that happened in the second half that kind of changed my perception of this game. Like, I hope that makes sense. For example, I really thought, and that's probably just because of the people that I follow, that I thought the Philadelphia Eagles defense was getting off without much criticism in the first half. Like, where people were like, what's happening with the Cowboys' run defense? I hear all of that. But Philly's defense was getting run through in the first half in terms of effectiveness for the Cowboys' offense. So I love their effectiveness in the first half. And in the second half, you're like, man, we struggle to get much of anything going. And then, conversely, in the first half, I was like, oh, this defense looks like it's going to suck again, and this run defense looks like it's got nothing. But then you go to the second half, and you still have, obviously, two glaring issues with the run defense: sealing off the edge and being able to handle running quarterbacks. But when it comes to like getting gashed up the middle, especially in the second half, I thought they looked tremendously improved, although I certainly understand how you can juxtapose that with the first half, and you're like, yeah, but don't forget the first half. They didn't look so good.
Yeah, no, you got to play a complete game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you do have to finish strong, too.
Absolutely.
And somebody just said, all that and a loss is a loss, you clown. Did I not say you lost the damn game?
Why are you yelling at me? I didn't say that.
You're 0-1 against the division. You're 0-1 against an opponent in your conference. You're 0-1 on the season. I said that already. Listen better, all right? This is not going to be a good day for y'all if you're not going to listen better out there, all right? Y'all are getting too emotional about this. But yeah,
are you talking? I was listening.
No, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to this other clown. But this is I think the defense. I liked what I saw from Solomon Thomas. We've heard that he's a leader in the locker room. I like what I saw from Fowler last night. We heard that he's a leader in the locker room. I would have liked to have seen more looks for George Pickens last night.
That was surprising.
He caught 3 of 4 last night on 3 of 4 targets. I liked what I saw from him. I know that we had the boneheaded
penalty.
But as Barstool Sports had tweeted out, I think he's allowed 1 of those per game by the NFL. I think that should be a rule. Is that Pickens
doesn't get penalized?
He gets one moment where they go, that's a penalty, and they say, but it's Pickens, so we're taking it back. I'm perfectly okay with that, obviously, because it's for the Cowboys. Booker had a couple moments of being a rookie. Did you hear Tyler Guyton's name last night?
Yeah, the most you heard about Tyler Guyton, I feel like, was when Jerry was talking with him in the tunnel after the game, which is not a bad thing whatsoever.
That's what you want.
Can I throw in Terrence Steele?
Yeah.
In that group as well. And look,
they came to play. That offensive line, Kevin, they have a new offensive coordinator, new offensive line coach. That group came to play last night.
Yeah, and look, I know that the counter argument is going to be, well, the Eagles were without Jalen Carter. And you're right, but I did feel like the offensive line, for the most part, though not all of the way, took a good advantage of the Eagles missing one of their quality players. But that's why I go back to, I still have a level of frustration this morning because the game was there for the taking. And
yes.
From the 206 or maybe 208.
I'm glad you're looking at it because I'm done with that clown.
I will do what I can. Even though we lost, I thought it was a win for us. So I'm not going to go that far. I'm going to say I understand the moral victory parts of it, but I would have felt different if it was 24-2, if it was like the same final score, but you scored a touchdown late in the fourth and you had kept it close most of the way and didn't get blown off the field. You definitely didn't get blown off the field, but you could have won the game.
The word victory doesn't involve itself here, Kevin.
Yeah.
Don't even, you know what? Don't even say moral. I don't even see the come out of your mouth today, all right?
Okay.
There's no moral victory.
What if we do the moral compass?
This moral compass, if that's the case, then
By the way, props to Tyler Guyton. If we're also doing a shout-out Friday for doing what looked like a left hook and not getting penalized for it.
Yeah,
good for him for
yeah.
getting away with that. Or maybe you're just like, that's the offensive line punch, no penalty.
He's supposed to be offensive. I don't want to use the word moral victory, but I think there are positives to take away. And Schottenheimer is going to definitely push those positives. He's going to be pushing P about what these guys have done because they didn't look like a sloppy team.
Yeah,
and that's an important thing about what they accomplished last night was they didn't look sloppy. And if they keep that kind of energy up, that's going to turn into a positive thing for this team. Now, the other side is Schottenheimer's also going to be able to go back. I don't think that he's thinking to himself, man, I got to worry about CeeDee Lamb. I really don't think that he's that concerned about CeeDee Lamb right now. But he's going into the film room, and he's going, I have so many things that I can say we can be better at. And that's the way. That's what I was asking Casillas yesterday. Hey, whenever things are going good, do you want the coach to be like, oh, man, things are just great. Let's just keep it up, boys. Or do you want to be like, hey, let's get you laser focused again. Let's get you back. How are you going to be better next week? And that's what I think Schottenheimer's going to focus on this week now is how do we get better for next week because we got another opponent coming up on us quick.
Alec, I think you're on the same page with us, but are you thinking moral victory this morning, or are you like, I like the way we play? Sorry, Corey. I like the way we played, but you still should have won the game.
I almost want to keep saying moral victory because I know Corey can't do anything about it since he's not in the building.
He's getting pretty heated about the fan text. You might not want to.
I turned the fan text off.
I'm a little too scared, but no, I'm right there with y'all. There was a lot of great things to take away from that game. It's still a loss, and like Corey said, you're still 0-1 in the division, but I feel a lot better about this team than I did going into the game. So, I'm going to give credit to Mickey when he said yesterday, I think this is going to be a closer game than we expect. And I think they're going to look a little bit better than we expect. That offense was fun to watch. I actually enjoyed watching that offense. So,
in the first half or for the whole game?
Mainly the first half, but
okay.
I did at least like the concepts that I saw in the second half, like at least gave me a little bit of, it gave me a little bit of motivation going forward that, hey, this team has an identity. They know what they want to do, and like we joked about yesterday, it's cool when your team actually has a plan for a division opponent that they're going to execute against this team, and then they're going to change it up next week because they're playing a different team. So I have that idea that, they're actually going to change things up and give different looks week in and week out.
By the way, Mikey B texted me yesterday, 27-20 Eagles. He was 3 points off. I mean, for everything Mike is, he did tell me, if you want to bet again, Corey, I'm your guy. And I was like, no, I'll never do that again.
By the way, just as an aside, if you miss Mike tomorrow earlier in the day, he will be at the Dallas Card Show, he told me.
Nice. So. Well, right off the jump here at 877-881-1053, leave your name and city you're texting from. We'd love some of your feedback. Big picture reaction, I was overall encouraged. I think last night looked like a team that could win the division. I think coaching staff's heading in the right direction. Dak played great. I think Javonte Williams is something. The adjustments the defense made to come out the way they did in the second half and get a stop, but then even after the weather alert thing, there was I think Saquon touched it 7 times and had 1 yard.
Yeah.
So I thought we saw some really cool stuff last night, and compared to where we were last year, and I think this is a developmental type of year where you're building towards something, so you need to start getting encouraging signs. It didn't snap your fingers and here's the Super Bowl with Jimmy Johnson. Took a couple of years, and I think we're now in 1991.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, from a big picture standpoint, I like that. I mean, Shotty had the guys ready to play. The physicality was there. I loved it from the jump. I mean, what a crazy start to the game. Carter's getting kicked out. We're spitting on each other, and we're pushing and shoving. We're not going to get punked. Love the way Maris Leofau was cracking heads out there a little bit. Guys flying around. Fergie was his usual nasty self. You just saw guys it felt like the real a toughness rivalry that, I don't know, it's been a little bit of a missing ingredient, I think, for the Cowboys for a long time. The physicality was there, and so I thought it was a really, really nice start to the season. I don't know if I'll say moral victory, but to some extent, CeeDee Lamb's not dropping balls like that.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, and even bigger than all of that, Dak was like the best version of himself.
He was.
He looked really dang sharp
Dak
last
was
night.
really good.
Yep.
And I think they need to get more Maris Leofau. The fact that he only had 6 snaps
That's
out
crazy.
of a possible 62, he needs to be in there over Damone Clark and Kenneth Murray. Murray tackles, which I appreciate, but coverage, you could see there was a little bit of some struggles there. And I felt like Jack Sanborn was in position to make more plays, and it was just the lack of finish sometimes, or maybe the footing was bad. I think he slipped on one play.
Barkley will do that to you a little bit.
He sure will, and he sure got Kenneth Murray on one that was a poster play there for Barkley. But I do think this offensive line I'm super pumped about. They've got something special for the future with those 3 in the middle, with Tyler Smith, Cooper Beebe, and Tyler Booker. And I thought Booker in his debut, it was really impressive for the most part. There were a couple of snaps, even for Beebe. He gave up some pressures up the middle, that one that Dak has to fight out of. He ends up picking up 3 yards. But the way that they were able to get push inside, that's something that travels, and that's something that's going to get better throughout the year. I think Guyton and Steele, solid. There were definitely some moments there, especially Steele, I thought, pass protection didn't hold up quite, didn't hold up a block there.
Yeah.
The tight ends, I think, and they played a lot of 13 personnel.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that watching the game, Brian, but going back and looking, I was like, damn, they are using a lot of Spanford, Schoonmaker, and Fergie on the field at the same time, even some Lipke. All 4 of them out there to try and run the ball.
Yeah, I think, to me, if you said the positivity I think you went through with the offensive line and all that, the negativity on my side of it was these linebackers aren't good enough right now. I know it's week 1, But
talent disparity.
There's a problem. I mean, if you're going to get guys that are going to run under blocks and stuff, and we'll see with Jack Sanborn and stuff like that. And there were a couple of times where he did that. I didn't know what happened when you're watching the touchdown run that the one that Saquon Barkley had, his run. I don't know what Murray was thinking. I don't know what Murray was seeing. He just stayed stationary and let the men come right into him. Didn't flow, didn't move, the reactions I didn't think were great with this crew. I didn't think they tackled particularly well as a group, and I think that's going to be kind of a little bit of something you got to keep an eye on. I think Kenny Clark is as good as advertised.
Absolutely.
I think his ability. They did a really good thing of kind of moving him around, but the power that he played with inside, I think, was something that they could absolutely build on from there. The edges there.
Yeah.
Fowler, there was too many times where I felt like that he was trying to play when we talk about hero ball. You go inside, you take it, instead of playing contain, you spin inside, and next thing you know, you're pinned. Mm-hmm. You've got outside contained. I think there was some scheme problems that they had with their edges. And that's why some of the things that you saw with the quarterback's ability to run was, okay, I've got outside responsibility, but now I take my rush inside against against Jordan Mailata, and now he's pinned me. He's going to hold you every single time when you go inside. That's why we were talking about it leading up to this. You have to attack him on the edge, because if you show his weakness on the edge, officials call that. They see him leaning. They see him grabbing. When you go straight into him, and this happened with Fowler a bunch, and it happened with Donovan Ezeraku, and he's a rookie. So he's going to – there was a couple of times after the weather delay where they were able to break him down, and that way you're like, okay, why not? Why not in the first quarter? Why not in the second? Why did you just rush inside, and just let him pin you to the edge or pin you inside? So to me, I think it's for Ezeraku, it's a learning experience. For Fowler, it's like, what the F are you doing?
Right. Yeah.
Your responsibility is outside gap. You can't go flying down in there and spin inside, and then they just pin you, and now the ball comes to the edge.
Yeah.
There are just so many things that they were not very good at the first 2.5 quarters, and then all of a sudden that hour in that locker room, Flew said, listen, guys, if I tell you to play outside D, play outside D. Don't go down inside. Don't try and be a hero. They looked much better. Now, on the flip side of that, what happened to the offense? What happened to their ability to the way they were moving the football, the way they were kind of being creative, the way that Dak – I mean, as the game wore on, the twist stunt started to be a problem for the Cowboys' offensive line.
Yeah.
And they got everybody leaning. And when they get everybody leaning, there's going to be some problems there. But they were not – it just wasn't the same. It didn't seem like it was the same type of, okay, let's set this up. Let's do – that creativity that we saw in the first two quarters of the game up until halftime, you're like going, wow, okay, Shoddy is trying to do some things different. But they did. They reverted back to some of those things in that third and fourth quarter that were like last year's offense that was just it got them in trouble. It was just so bland that they could not move the football. And Philadelphia was like, fine, if you're going to do that, we're going to twist this front. We're going to make you have to block us this way, and we're going to try and defend you. And they were able to do that.
Yeah, that's to me is the biggest problem. And it's kind of it's tough because once you get into hurry up, once you get into a 2-minute or 4-minute offense, time is of the essence, and you don't necessarily have time for all the motions and the misdirections and everything that you want to set up. But that was the case well before then as well. Well before. I thought the best play he called after the weather delay was the fourth down play.
The 4th and 3?
Yeah, the fourth.
Where they hit Lamb down the sideline?
Yeah, that was that. To me, that was I was thinking, where is that on your play sheet on that massive,
the binder?
Yeah, why are you not circling like, okay, I'm kicking their ass on this motion. I'm kicking their ass with this combination of routes. You did not get, in my opinion, you didn't get Pickens involved enough. No. You didn't get Turpin involved enough. it was like Dak kind of went back to the two-man game of Ferguson seam and then trying to throw the ball to CD. Not a problem, but hey, you've got other weapons that you could have used in this football game, and I didn't see that. Once that fumble hit, the offense as we knew it was non-existent for what we'd seen up until the fumble.
Okay, so some things to build on, but I think overall, schematically, I'm encouraged. Game one
won that game.
Shoddy's probably looking at that and saying, well, how did we get away from this stuff so much in the second half? We got to make sure that we don't let the game get away from us and forget what's going to give our quarterback a decision-making advantage.
The quarterback played very, very well.
He did.
He played very, very well, and he hung in there. When he had a clean pocket, he hung in there. When he had to roll to his left, he made some really very good throws.
He was accurate. He was able to hit players on the run.
The numbers don't tell you how well he really played from looking at it, looking at the field, seeing where everybody is. There were a couple times you couldn't walk the ball down there and hand it to CeeDee Lamb as good as he did.
Incredible.
Yeah, the drop downfield inside the 20.
Oh, and the third down and 10 drop. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It just was – that part of it was disheartening because – you had Philadelphia on the ropes. You took Vic Fangio out of something that he's not comfortable doing. He's not comfortable blitzing. What did he have to do? He had to start blitzing because his defense wasn't holding up. He had a problem at corner. You went after that corner. We talked about Adoree Jackson and how you have to wear him out. Just keep going at that. Keep going at that. Why are you throwing the ball over here at Mitchell? No, stay over here and try and those are the
they benched Jackson after the flag in the end zone.
They did. They put Bennett
he was in big trouble.
Yep, absolutely.
But I like what Chief said that the energy, the mood, the tone, it seemed more resilient. It seemed more energized, and maybe that's from the hangover of last year. But I think that's culture paying off. I think there's a physicality and urgency, and hopefully they can maintain that. How much of that is Micah was traded and it's Dak's mom's birthday and it's week 1 against the champs? Can you maintain that energy throughout a 17-game season? And if he can, it's easy to have highs and lows and sort of ride the emotions. But if you can maintain that, I think
that's just a shame. Last night, man, they had one. That to me,
they couldn't tackle Hurts.
Well. He had 61 yards. He averaged 3 yards a carry.
Yeah.
He averaged 3 yards a carry. Come on, man.
They were back-breaking plays all over the field for 3 hours or 4 hours.
The second half of that game, he had nothing.
Yeah,
it was the first carries.
They got 3 straight stops.
That's what I'm saying, though. I mean, it wasn't like I say, to me.
But they had 24 points because he kept moving the chains and running into the end zone.
His legs were the difference.
Are you saying Barkley or Hurts?
Hurts.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm sorry. Barkley was who I was thinking.
Gotcha.
My apologies.
His legs were the difference for them. 100%.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. My apologies. I was thinking Barkley. I'm like, because
they did a pretty good job of not letting Barkley kill him.
Barkley did absolutely nothing against him.
Was that Dickerson going down? I mean,
that was big. After
the weather delay. They had him totally bottled up. He was almost 6 yards in attempt before the weather delay, and he ends up at around 4.
Yeah.
So, again, encouraging signs, but in the end, you use the word moral victory or, hey, I'm excited about the loss, and I don't blame people for being offended by it. I just think it was a tremendous step in the right direction. It makes me feel like they are going to beat the Giants. They are going to beat the Bears, and they're going to be 2-1 getting ready for Green Bay instead of thinking, holy crap, are the Giants going to beat us too? A lot to work on. They have essentially a week and a half now to get ready for the Giants, and hopefully they take another big step in the right direction.